Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live and the weekly roundup of orchestral, choral, and operatic works for this week of May 19th to May 26th. And boy, do we have a lot to show you. There's a lot going on this week, a lot of offerings. Just showing you a photo briefly of all these terrific conductors there, like Christian Macelaru and these the terrific soloist and music from all the way from early music to the most recent composers, and including one composer who I think is 99 years old these days. We'll be telling you all about her and everybody else. So before we go any further, let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, like the video. If you're watching this on any of our other many platforms, please don't just like the video, like us. That is, subscribe to or follow us on our other platforms, wherever you watch us. That's YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. And with that, we can now get into the meat of everything coming up for you this week. Starting, I think it's on Wednesday, is the first live stream that we're able to tell you about. Wednesday, May 21st, the Moscow Regional Phil joins organist Marina Omelchenko and soprano Elena Tarantieva in a program of Ave Marias and works by Schubert and Camille Saint-Saëns. That will be at 7:30 in the evening, European time, 8:30 in the evening in Moscow, which is where this takes place at the Roman Catholic Cathedral, 1:30 in the afternoon on the East Coast, and 10:30 in the morning on the West Coast. It's a religious program. It's at the Roman Catholic Cathedral, and they're still celebrating Easter, as many Christian churches are doing. They'll start out with Schubert's overture in the Italian style in D major. Then they'll do Caccini's Ave Maria, which most people know. Then Camille Saint-Saëns' introduction in Rondo Capricciosa for violin and orchestra, with André Baskin on the violin. And then they'll do Schubert's Ave Maria and Schubert Symphony No. 2 in E major. If you like Schubert or if you like Ave Marias, that will be a lovely concert to enjoy. And that's the picture of that's Marina Omelchenko, who is one of the titular organists at the Roman Catholic Cathedral, and Elena Tarantieva. She's a soloist with the Novaya Opera Theater in Moscow, and she often sings solos or sings together with solos in choral works at the Roman Catholic Cathedral. So she and Marina know each other very well. This will be an artistic collaboration between people who know how to work together. Next we have for you something on Thursday evening. Thursday, May 22nd, Alan Antinoglu. Let me start that again. It's Altinoglu. Thursday, May 22nd, Alan Altinoglu leads the Frankfurt Radio Symphony through Brahms' Third, Brahms' variations on a theme by Haydn, and Haydn's Trumpet Concerto. The trumpeter there will be Sebastian Berner, who is the principal trumpeter for the Frankfurt Symphony. He's nobody to sneeze at, though. He won first prize at the 2022 Maurice André International Trumpet Competition in Paris, playing, among other things, the Haydn Trumpet Concerto in E-flat major. Apparently, Alain Altinoglu is convinced that Brahms had affinities with Haydn. And in fact, the first work they're doing is Brahms' variations on a theme by Haydn. And then they do the Haydn Trumpet Concerto, and then they do Brahms' Symphony No. 3. The only problem is that the musicological scholars now think that the source material for variations on a theme by Haydn by Brahms didn't come from Haydn. So this is a little bit of I don't know what in the mix there. Anyway, if you're not familiar with Alain Altinoglu, he's about a 50-year-old guy he's been the musical director at the Théâtre Royal de la Monnaie in Brussels for a decade now. That's the big operatic theater there. And he's ambitious of nothing else. They went through the whole Wagner Ring series in the last couple of years. He's been the chief conductor at Frankfurt in the Radio Symphony since 2021, and he's also the artistic director of the Colmar International Festival since the last few years, since 2023. And he also, I gather, he's a pianist because he regularly performs with mezzo-soprano Nora Gubish, according to his CV. But his CV doesn't see what he plays. But if he's regularly performing with a mezzo, then he's playing the piano. So I think that will make a lovely concert. I don't know much about affinities between Brahms and Haydn. I don't get these affinities. I was astonished. I will say astonished when I learned that Tchaikovsky was a great admirer of Mozart. I don't get how you get from the one to the other. But if you listen closely to certain pieces by Tchaikovsky, you can actually find that he almost note per note pulled musical motifs from Mozart, but he redid it in his much more enlarged and bombastic style. Anyway, so let's move on to the next of these concerts. I think we're already getting on to Friday night, and no, we're not. Yeah, we are getting on to Friday night. And Friday night comes a concert that I think is just really, I'm really intrigued by it, and so I'm planning on tuning into it. It involves Daniel Harding, whom you see there in all his robust glory on the left, and on the right is Betsy Jolas, a French-American conductor. Let me give this one of my usual routine introductions. Friday, May 23rd, Daniel Harding conducts his last concert as chief conductor with the Göteborg Symphony Orchestra, including a unique piece by 99-year-old French-American composer Betsy Jolas, not to be missed. Harding is not completely leaving the Göteborg Symphony, but he's giving up the main seat now. And he's doing so with the concert, mainly what everybody's focused on. Well, they're doing Mendelssohn's Violin Concerto in E minor with Joshua Bell as the coming in to play the violin. And then they're doing Gustav Mahler's Das Lied von der Erde with Andrew Staples as a tenor and Fleur Baron as the mezzo. And that's the Mahler piece, which was actually a symphony, but he didn't give it a number because he was afraid it would have been number 9 if he'd given it a number, and everybody was worried about the curse of number 9. It was the whole big thing. But that's not what I'm really interested in here. What I want to talk to you about, and I can't talk about everything, I want to talk to you about Betsy Jolas. And she is a French-American conductor who's been around. Well, like I said, she's 99 years old. She was born in 1926. And she was born in France. They moved to the U.S. in 1940, evidently because of the war. And she came from a very sophisticated family. Both of her parents were involved in the literati scene, and they knew people like James Joyce and published his first works and things like that. So she was steeped in the whole expat writing and artistic scene of Paris between the two wars. Then she goes to the U.S. in 1940, and she enrolls at Bennington College and studies there. Studied composition with Paul Boepel, piano with Helen Schnabel, organ with Karl Weinrich. She also studied the 16th century polyphony of people like Palestrina and all. The reason I mention these things, and the musicologists mentioned it, is because it fed into the way she composed music. It goes back to Paris in 1946, and she's studying with Darius Milhaud and Olivier Messiaen at the Paris Conservatory. So it's quite a story. By the 1970s, she ended up replacing Olivier Messiaen at the National Conservatory, becoming a member of the family and the faculty in 1975. But she's also taught, since she's French-American, she's taught at a number of places like Tanglewood and Yale and Harvard and Mills College. I used to date a girl from Mills College when I was at Stanford. Anyway, so, and I just think it's terribly charming that she's still writing. And the piece they're doing is called Ces belles années, these wonderful years. Well, strictly it means beautiful years, but it means wonderful in that context. It's about a 12-minute piece, but you got to hear it. And I want to read you the text. It's very simple, but I think it's beautiful. Oh, la joie de ces beaux jours, célébrons sans cesse ces beaux jours, toutes ces belles années. Venez, venez, amenez vos amis, tous vos amis. That means, oh, the joy of these wonderful days. Let us celebrate unendingly these beautiful days, all these wonderful years. Come and bring along your friends, all your friends. And then it changes a little in register. It's et toi le tout petit dans ton berceau, tout viendra aussi. Et vous là-bas qui passez, venez aussi. And you little baby in the cradle, you will come too. And you over there passing by, you come along too. And then it's chanson tous ensemble, chantons la joie, la joie. And the laughter that's in the text. And that means let us all sing together. Let us sing the joy, the joy. So, if you want to hear that alone is worth tuning into this piece for. And I just had to tell you about it. And there's a photo of her, just utterly charming 99-year-old composer. I mean, and you can look her up on Wikipedia for the details about it. She's just scads of things over the years. And now I have to move on to the next concert because we just can't stay forever on any one. But I could just spend the whole day talking about her and Daniel Harding. And I don't have the time. So, what do we move on to next? Here's what we move on to next. You have two concerts on Friday night. One of them, both Friday, May 23rd, there's a pair of Portuguese-speaking orchestras live streaming sad music, one after the other. It's the Gulbenkian Orchestra in Lisbon performing Mozart, and the Sao Paulo Orchestra in Brazil playing Mahler. This first one, Friday, May 23rd, 8 o'clock in the evening, European time, the Gulbenkian Orchestra performs Mozart's Requiem in D minor, as well as his Ave Verum and Exultate Jubilate, conducted by Stephanie Childress. And there's a photo of Stephanie Childress there. That'll be at 8 in the evening, European time, 2 in the afternoon on the East Coast, 11 in the morning on the West Coast. Stephanie Childress she's young, and she's replacing Martina Batic, who was supposed to do this, or Batic. Stephanie is French and British. She is the principal guest conductor at the Barcelona Symphony now, so she's not far from Portugal. And before that, from 2020 to 2023, she was assistant conductor at the St. Louis Symphony. So we're not looking at somebody who has a huge history. But when she conducted Don Giovanni with the Glyndebourne Sinfonia, Opera Today called her a Mozartian to her fingertips. So she's a specialist in Mozart. This is a Mozart concert. The soloist she has, and I can show you briefly a picture of the 4 soloists who are mostly already associated with Gulbenkian. They are in the upper left-hand corner there. The soprano is Ana Vieira Leite. She got her start with Les Arts Florissants about 5-6 years ago, I think, and she's worked with a lot of other period piece groups like Le Concert de l'Austère-Dieu, the Concerto 1700, Divino Sospiro, Los Elementos, and then next to her is the mezzo Carolina Figueiredo. She's been around a lot longer. She graduated from the National Conservatory of Lisbon 20 years ago. Works regularly with Gulbenkian and the San Carlos National Theater, which is an opera theater. Then the tenor is Rodrigo Carreto. He's a Bach specialist. He's also sung with Les Arts Florissants recently, that 2023 and 24. And he was also, earlier than that, he was with Philippe Herveg in the Collegium Vocale Gente. And then finally, the bass is Carlos Pedro Santos. He's a regular at the San Carlos National Theater as well. So that should be, you have a Mozart specialist coming in. You have, in general, a young group of singers. I think it should be fun, especially if you love Mozart. You know, the Mozart people, they really love Mozart. You know, it goes beyond just sort of liking it. So what do we have up next, John? Next what we have is OSESP. Friday, May 23rd at 8 p.m. Brazilian time, Chief Conductor Thierry Fischer leads the Sao Paulo Phil through Mahler's tragic Symphony No. 6 as part of a long-term Mahler recording project. That's at 8 o'clock Brazilian time, 7 o'clock on the East Coast, 4 o'clock on the West Coast, 1 in the morning European time, and 9 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, down under in Australia. Since 2023, OSESP, which is what they call themselves, have been on a plan to record the complete symphonies of Gustav Mahler in immersive sound technology. So now they're doing Symphony No. 6. So this is in a line of something they've been focused on and working on. So I think you can trust Thierry Fischer to know what he's doing. We then move on to Saturday's offering, where you get to enjoy the terrific conducting of somebody referred to him as young, some article I saw of Christian Macelaru. Well, let me tell you what it's going to be. And this is a big deal, and it's a choral work, another choral. Saturday, May 24th, Christian Macelaru conducts Elgar's oratorio, Dream of Gerontius, with the Cologne Philharmonic and the combined Cologne and Berlin radio choirs. So that promises to be resounding. This will be at 8 o'clock in the evening, European time, 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon on the East Coast, and 11 in the morning on the West Coast. They don't perform Elgar's oratorio that often in Germany, but they do more often in England, and where it's right up there with Handel's Messiah or Mendelssohn's Elijah. And if you don't know who Elgar is, he's the one that wrote that bum bum ba dee 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 la da 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 da. It's called Pomp and Circumstance. It's a march. Most people know that. Anyway, the Dream of Gerontius is the story of a journey of the soul into the kingdom of heaven from the moment of death, or when your guardian angel comes along and leads you through up to heaven, and then experiencing the glory of God. So that should be a great time. And I think I also have a photo I can show you of Macelaru together with the main singers in this. In fact, I'm sure I have it because I'm the one who put it together. Let's take a look at that. I'll tell you just a little bit about each of these singers. I don't have time to go into depth in any of them, but I can give you a little tidbit. The mezzo-soprano there is Jamie Barton. She's American. This is an Anglo-American or British Commonwealth kind of casting. She's an American, and after she did a performance at the last night of the proms in 2020, and BBC Music Magazine then named her Music Personality of the Year. She's an award winner, the International Opera Award, Readers Award, the Beverly Sills Artist Award, the Richard Tucker Award, and I think the first one was like a decade ago, the BBC Cardiff Singer of the World competition. So this will be good. She was described by The Guardian as comparable to Kirsten Flagstad, the legendary, not comparable to her competitors. So that's something. The tenor is Alan Clayton. He's British. He's appeared at the Brahms many times, and in 2022 he performed The Dream of Gerontius there to raves reviews. If you go to his own webpage, we find by looking him up, he has a whole page devoted to the glowing reviews from all the British press for just that performance of The Dream of Gerontius. What a coincidence he's doing it again, eh? And you get it for free. And because, they don't show you the proms for free live. They don't live stream it that I know of. And then the bass is Derek Welton, and he's Australian. And he's kind of an early music specialist, Bach and Handel and that kind of thing. Just to tell you what he's doing next year, what's on his schedule is playing King Heinrich in the Lohengrin at the Hungarian State Opera, the Flying Dutchman for Deutsche Oper Berlin, a debut role as John Claggart in Billy Budd, and another debut role in the role of Pizarro in Fidelia at the Zurich Opera House. So, that is quite a lineup. If you don't know who Christian Macelaru is, well, he's the incoming artistic director of the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra. They're so lucky to have him. He's he's the music director of the Orchestra Nationale de France. He's the outgoing chief conductor of the Cologne Symphony Orchestra, which he's conducting here. And he's got a couple other titles. So he is a heavy hitter. This should be a great performance. What do we have next after that Saturday performance? I think we only have a couple more. Yeah. The last one, I'm not even going to have a photo for. I'll just tell you about it. The last step of orchestral works that we have for you is also on Saturday. If you're a fan of Russian culture, then you may enjoy Saturday, May 24th, the Tomsk Philharmonic's Igor Berendeyev conducts Prokofiev's highly cinematic and most Russian cantata, Alexander Nevsky. That'll be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon out there in Siberia, 9 in the morning on the East Coast, late night, 3 o'clock at night, your Friday night on the East Coast. Yeah, it's 9 in the morning in Europe. 3 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, dude, Friday night, and midnight Friday night on the West Coast. You want to stay up late. This music, it's a heroic history out of Russian history. I mean, this is quintessential Russian music, which Prokofiev first composed in a different format for Sergei Eisenstein's film Alexander Nevsky, and then he reorchestrated it as a symphony, and it was premiered in 1939. This is as Russian as it gets. It's already been performed by the Tomsk Philharmonic on Russia Day last year, I think. So, and the singer is a young singer, Nadezhda Honcharuk, who she just got out of the Novosibirsk Conservatory in 2016, and then did graduate work. She's performed with the Novosibirsk Opera and Ballet Theater. This is not an international opera singer coming in to do it, but this I would say this is a concert. If you don't know Alexander Nevsky, this is a good opportunity to hear it played and sung by real Russians out there in Siberia. So, and it's free of charge. Just about everything we've told you about was free of charge, except the one of those concerts. Actually, it's tomorrow's concert, so there's one more. I have to tell you about that one. All right. And do I have a photo for you for the last one? It would serve me right if I don't. I have the conductor. I was sure that I had the photo for this, but it does not seem to be anybody. It was just a wish and a hope. There he is. Wow. Sunday, May 25th, Stage Plus live streams the new chief conductor of the London Symphony Orchestra, Antonio Pappano, in a Mozart and Strauss program with top violinist Lisa Batiashvili. And that will be Sunday, 8 o'clock in the evening, European time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast, 11 in the morning on the West Coast, €9.90 because it's on Stage Plus. So we can't get it to you for free. I'm looking to see, do I have the violinist for you at least? I must have a photo of the violinist. And it's just nowhere to be found. Oh well, what I can do is I can put up the earlier photo that I had. Photo of everybody and show her that. There's Lisa Batiashvili. She's terrific. This piece that they're doing is, well, they're doing Strauss's Till Eulenspiegel's Lustige Streicher, Opus 28, and that's the first piece. And then they'll do Strauss's Ein Heldenleben, Opus 40, to finish off. And in between, then they do Mozart's Violin Concerto No. 5 in A major, Herschel 219, this Turkish violin concerto. Batiashvili, she's in her mid-40s, so you could call her at the height of her career for a musician. She's been resident artist at the Berlin Philharmonic, at the New York Philharmonic, at several other Philharmonic orchestras. She's exclusively recording for Deutsche Grammophon. Her latest album is called Secret Love Letters in August 2022 with Yannick Nézet-Séguin and the Philadelphia Orchestra. And she's this will be a really, there's a picture over there. She's on the third line down. She's on the left. That's her. And she's intense and she's stylish and she's great. So this will be a great concert as well. And that finally brings us to the end of this week's orchestral and choral works, but we're not quite done yet because we have one more. I just want to tell you about it. I'm going to do a separate talk about it. This Sunday, May 25th, the Vienna State Opera offers a rare treat, a live stream of its production of Wagner's Tannhäuser. So we will put out a more thorough live stream about this full-scale opera free of charge from a top opera house later in the week. I can tell you that the conductor is Philippe Jourdan. The performances include Ludovic Tezier, Craig Hilly, Malin Bistrom, Daniel Jentz, Lucas Schmidt, Ilya Staple, and Ekaterina Gubanova, if you opera lovers, if that speaks to you. That's what we have for you this week, folks. I hope that one, more, some, or any of these live streams inspires you, uplifts you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. And before I sign off, let me remind you once again, if you're watching this video on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching the video on any of our other platforms, we ask you, we're happy when you like the video, but we'd really like it if you'd like us. That is, subscribe to or follow Access Arts Live on X, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, or LinkedIn, wherever it is that you follow us or you see our notices. And we will continue to provide you with 1,000 live links to live performances online this year and every year as long as we're around. And with that, it's time for me to sign off and move on to other things. But I hope you have enjoyed these moments, and thank you to those of you who tuned in. Ciao for now.